And welcome to the regular meeting of the Helotes City Council. It's January 27th, 2022. Time is 7 p.m. If you all rise, we'll have the invocation by Councilmember Merchant, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Lord, grant us the serenity and wisdom to make the best decisions for the people of Helotes. Guide us and direct us to do what we believe is just, right, and worthy of your praise. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay. Selena, do we have any citizens to be heard signed up?
No, Mr.
Okay.
Mayor, nobody signed up.
Okay, we have no citizens to be heard, so we'll go ahead and move on to consent agenda. Looking for a motion and a second to approve consent agenda items number 3 through 5 as written.
Mr. Mayor, before we do that, can I ask a question about number 4,
Certainly.
quarterly investment reports? I'm fairly certain I figured it out, but I just want to make sure. I was noticing that the city actually made money this last quarter, and the EDC lost money. And is it because of the percentages that go into the pool and the bad market? I'm trying to figure this out.
Well, Marion, if you can speak to specifics.
Yeah,
but
it's the percentage that go into the pool and what percentages is made on each pool.
Yeah, because
Yes.
there's more going on the EDC pool, it's like 99%, whereas in the cities, it's only 78%. And the market has been kind of up and down and fluctuating. So that, I guess that was just my only question. It just seemed, I would have thought that, that the investments would be the same, but I guess they're not.
Well, you have timing of deposits, when it's actually deposited, and maybe one was deposited on an up day, the other one was deposited on a down day, and at any given snapshot point, if it was in the middle, this one would show a loss, this one would show a gain. But that would have been specific to that. When you take a look at the whole and the long-term investments, those daily fluctuations, which will more readily appear on a shorter-term financial, tend to disappear on the longer time span, which is why you'll see very similar returns on when you're looking at 1, 5, 10-year longer range. But when you get down to quarterly or weekly, you can see, depending on the day of the deposit, will show fluctuation as well as.
And it depends on what expenses have to be paid from each of the EDC or city.
Okay. Okay, that was the only question I had.
Any other questions on items 3 through 5? Okay, we'll entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items number 3 through 5 as written.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve consent agenda items 3 and 4 as written.
I second.
Okay, and 5? It's 3, 4, and 5?
Oh, yes.
Okay, and second? All right, so. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? For those that didn't know where that voice came from, we do have Councilmember Craig Sanders with us via Zoom. You there, Craig?
Yes, I am.
Okay, was that an aye?
That was.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that brings us to individual item for consideration. Item number 6, looking for a motion, a second to discuss and take action on item number 6 as written. Motion by,
Mr. Mayor, I move that we discuss and take action on item number 6 as written.
I'll second.
okay, Massey and Merchant. Councilmember.
I would like to thank Mr. Whittington for sending the video. That was very helpful for me. And I know that this is 5 feet short of the 20-foot required setback, but seeing the landscape of his property and seeing also the street, it's not a heavily used street. And we have given variances before for this type of thing. I mean, he took out usually we're worried about just a truck, and he put not just a truck, but also the long trailer behind it, and there was still enough room for him to stop there at the entrance and cars to go by. Therefore, I am willing to grant the variance.
Okay. Councilman?
For whatever reason, I couldn't open the video. I didn't get to see it, but I did travel out there last night. I did go out to the property last night, and I made my own measurements. I had a conversation with Michael before this to kind of figure out what the line was. I'm inclined to grant this variance as well. What is noteworthy here is the way this homeowner went about getting this done. Probably not the best way to do this. But I measured 23 feet from that fence out. Took some pictures. I can share them if necessary, but that's my take.
So, I appreciate the video, and thanks to Marion for the fast responses on the questions I had. I did forget two questions I wanted, because I just wanted to be quick about this, because I think, it's very helpful with the video, and we have granted other variances before like this. So the two questions I got is, outside of the missed measurement of the 20 feet, are all other all code requirements met? And it was just the 5 feet setback, okay? And then the double standard fee that we talked about, was that applied?
That will be, yes, he would be charged the double permit.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I recall a few meetings ago when the colleagues say, small town intent with our ordinances, but this will, to Councilman Merchant's point, this will be the third time somebody's just started building, and, so, with those two questions answered, I'll support it.
Councilman?
No questions.
Craig, are you out there?
Yes.
Any comments?
So I want to agree with my colleagues that kind of talked about the length of time it took from the denied permit while construction continued for 7 months before the homeowner, and I don't know what prompted the homeowner to finally submit the variance. Not to get on a pedestal, but we have ordinances in the city because we're supposed to have standards. And in many cases, like colleagues have already stated, based on the scenarios, situations, and it's not something illegal or something that's a true public safety hazard, we will normally grant variances to the homeowner. I'm just kind of disappointed that the process wasn't, started back in May, asking us for the variance, because I'm sure we all would have come to the same conclusion that this variance is worth supporting. I just worry about the trend that we're setting in the city, across the city, where people seems a little bit like they're blatantly not following the rules and coming in at the midnight hour to make things right. So I will support for all the right reasons that my colleague said. It's a road that's off the beaten trail. I seriously doubt that will ever be a 2-lane highway. And the video was very helpful. I appreciated that. But so I will support it, but I guess I'm just making a note that to my colleagues that this might be something we have to seriously start taking into consideration a little bit more, as this is the 4th one that's come in, and for various reasons people aren't following the process expeditiously like they're supposed to. So anyways, I'll support it.
Okay, thank you very much. And to that point, we do have a staff member that handles code compliance, and some people have asked me through time, do you have this guy that's running around and giving tickets? He is our code compliance man, and that's exactly what he's supposed to be doing, is out there keeping track of, make sure that whoever's building, that they have the proper permits, that they are building it in accordance with the ordinances, et cetera. And every once in a while, there is something that slips through once in a while, but it is going to be an effort, and I think we need to communicate to the public that, remind them of the process and what we have. We certainly are not here to make life difficult. We're in fact quite the contrary. We're trying to make things easy and enjoyable, but at the same time, it's not just about the individual, it's also about setting a standard of consistency so that everybody's treated the same. And that's an important thing that we do need to maintain from city administration for those that are involved with this. That is the nature of the concerns involved. With no other questions, if we're ready to vote, all in favor of approving item number 6 as written, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Brings us to item number 7, looking for a motion and a second to discuss and take action on item number 7 as written.
Mayor, I move that we discuss and take action on item number 7.
Okay, Sanders, second by
I'll second.
Councilman.
Okay, so pretty straightforward from my opinion. We're already following all these international standards and codes. So if I understood everything, the support material here, we're just really, every now and then, those things are updated. And so this is our opportunity to update those codes within our ordinances. So it's all focused on public safety and the safety of the community. I didn't see anything in there seen out of the ordinary. So yeah, I have no issues with it.
Yeah, reiterate the same. I have no issues with it.
No, it looked good to me. I read through everything, and I'm very appreciative that our TC and that we have people looking over this for us and keeping us up on the latest, and I think that's where we should be.
I was curious that if this is an update, they added quite a bit to this one.
They did. They've had 2 updates. They had one in 2018, and then this is in 2021. And so they have added some things to it. They're not major, but they are more on the fire side.
And it looks like a lot of it applies to new construction.
That is correct.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was just, I said, man, this is a lot that they added, so they must have been finding other issues as things have gone along that they needed to address.
Especially, I said, on the fire side, on the safety.
On the safety side, yeah, okay. That's all.
I don't have any problems with any of these updates. What I would like to see that we add to these updates is that they automatically come to council so that we don't have to wait years to do these updates.
So sometimes the reason we wait one cycle is because so the 18, there was very minor ones. And so that when we went with the building official and looked at it, they actually didn't recommend us adopt the 18 and wait till the 2021. So we do actually look at between our engineer and building official and make that decision if, instead of changing it every other, usually cities wait one cycle and change it to the next cycle.
For example, if there was a code update had a lot to do with industrial, which really didn't apply to us.
Right, we would skip that.
Yeah.
I understand.
And that's why 18 wasn't considered the last time, but 21 definitely, and you can't, and because of our ISO rating, definitely cannot wait.
Right, we can't wait.
Correct.
Which is why I was
Yes.
wanting to make these these updates kind of automatically come to council so that we're aware of them so that we can act.
Yes.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have no problem with these.
Any other questions, comments? With no other discussion, all in favor of approving item number 7 as written, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. At this point, we're adjourned into closed session to discuss personnel matters, section 551.074. We're discussing the candidate qualifications for the position of City of Helotes Economic Development Corporation Executive Director. The time is 7:14.
Okay,
Test,
you should
test.
be able to hear us now.
Craig, can you hear us? All right.
Thumbs up.
We are resuming session at 8:35 PM from our closed session. No decisions were made in closed session. We're going to continue with our items for individual consideration. Looking for a motion and a second to discuss and take action on item number 9A and B as written.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we discuss and take action on item number A and B as written.
Councilmember Massey, seconded by
I'll second that.
Crossan.
First, I'd like to say that I have no issue with removing the city administrator as the executive director of the EDC. However, after careful consideration and reading through this over the last several days and thinking about this, I am not prepared to vote for what we have here. I'd like to suggest that we table the items with the recommendation that, in particular, section 3.6.1, the executive director of the corporation shall be appointed and are terminated by the board of directors. That totally removes the city council from any say in termination of the executive director. And I think that that is not a good thing for the city council. So I would suggest that the recommendation would be that the executive director of the corporation shall be appointed by the board of directors with approval by the city council, but not be a member of the board of directors. And the executive director may be terminated by the board of directors with approval by the city council or by the city council with cause. I also would like to, in the same section, I've been going back and forth on this, on whether the mayor, my suggestion would have been to put the mayor and the city administrator as ex officio representative of the board will assist to oversee the job performance and evaluation of the executive director. However, it's probably better to just have one. I'm leaning toward the city administrator, but I'd like to hear what my colleagues say. The mayor is fine with me, but I do believe that a city elected official or a city staff member should be a part of the overseeing of the job performance of the executive director. So those are the two recommendations I have. I'm not prepared to vote for either A or B unless without these considerations by the board of the EDC.
Okay, for clarity on process, you're suggesting you're going to want to move to table. Prior to making that motion to table, can we continue our discussion, or did you want to make that motion right here, right now, or do you want to?
That's a good question.
Can pause for conversation. You can always have the opportunity to make whatever motion.
Is that,
necessary.
can we discuss this before we table it?
I did hear a motion for table by Councilwoman, but she did then make the recommendations she would like to see. If there is no second to table, we can continue the discussion, and then the motion can be stated again.
Okay. So without a second, we can continue unless there's a second to table at this exact time. Okay, with no second right now, we'll continue conversation.
Mayor, Mayor, sorry,
Yes.
I'm kind of clunky. So I would like to second the motion to table the discussion.
Okay. At that point, clarification, Frank, we can have discussion on the motion to table, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So now we will set aside the original motion and we will have discussion on the motion to table. So let's start that. We'll give honors to the second of the original, Councilmember Crossan, on the topic of tabling.
On the topic of tabling, I disagree, and I think that with everything that is in the bylaws, as they're written right now, council has a significant amount of oversight. And I would question if we need more oversight, and to table this item, I would question what is the purpose of us confirming any of the board of directors? If we need to table this because there's stuff in here that we disagree with right now and that we're getting ready to move some titles around and shift some direct and implicit what's the word I'm looking for? Review input, then I honestly don't know what I would have to, I mean, I don't know what would come back before us. I mean, I don't see a reason why we should table it when what we have now is the existing set of bylaws. We have it's redlined, and I see a ton of statutory powers given to council. I don't see, I would not support tabling it.
Okay. Councilor?
I think we should have discussion first, so that council has the opportunity to, each of us can voice publicly what we have to say first.
Okay. Councilor?
Yeah, I think it'd be in the best interest of the public to hear what each council person has to say in regarding all that is going on here. I don't disagree with Councilmember Massey and what her ideas are with this amendments here, or that changes we'd like to see. I don't disagree with that, but I think publicly we should all be heard.
Okay. As, well, I guess we still should give Councilmember Sanders a chance to discuss. Any discussion on your second, other than the obvious?
No. I mean, I fundamentally agree with everything that was presented, but I think it's omitting a key piece for the council, in particular the mayor, to have the opportunity, if for cause or there's something not appropriate, I'm not talking political, something due to cause, that provision is not in there. And
Okay. I don't want to interrupt you, but we're talking about, that discussion will ensue. We're talking about issues with
I still
discussion
support.
on whether tabling it right now.
I still support my second motion.
Okay. With no further discussion on the question of tabling, we'll go ahead and have a vote on the motion to table. All in favor of tabling the topic, the item number 9 is written, say aye.
Aye.
2. All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Okay. So, the motion to table has failed. We will resume our discussion of item number 9, which leaves us the ultimate decision to take a vote on item 9 as written, and you can vote yes or no on that after conversation. We have heard from Council Member Massey. We will continue with discussion on the issue. Councilmember Crossan, I know you stated pretty much most of your position, but if there's anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, because we've discussed this with the attorney, and to correct me if I'm wrong, Frank, but, the examples you've given us by other EDCs where there's autonomy, there is little potential for that implicit conflict of interest with an EDC. And I think at one point you said the most successful ones, have almost full autonomy, and that might be a very subjective term, but the Texas legislature provides us a significant amount of oversight. We already have stuff in our bylaws that say there's, quarterly reporting review, and, I do support to get this going and to keep, all the stakeholders involved. I would support the language as written, that includes the mayor's assistance in the evaluation. I think there's a tremendous amount of oversight. I think that if it ever got to the point where we needed such a clause for that council unilaterally, for whatever reason, it has to come in and say, you part of this separate entity, you're not a city employee, we want to terminate you for cause. I think that is, I don't think that's, I understand the oversight, I understand some of the concerns, but in the spirit of, small government, and letting people do their job and trusting in the process, which we are a significant part of in the approval of their budget, the approval of the slate of directors that are presented to us for nomination. Anything over 10,000 that we have to approve, anything that they want to expend over 10,000, we have to approve. I think there is so significant oversight that if it ever came to that point, I think there's a complete failure, and not just the communication, but a complete failure in the political system in this town, and the people we delegate and provide and give that authority to go do the good work they do for this community. And hopefully I said it eloquently and got my points across, but that's it.
Sure, we'll go remotely. Greg, because you had given a second on the previous one, so go ahead and give your comment, sir.
Oh, am I up?
Yes, you're up for discussion on approving items number 9A and B. Your thoughts on that topic?
Okay. So a lot of what Councilmember McCrossin stated, I have no issue with. I support it, making the executive director an EDC employee. I support the idea that was presented in this information tonight, that we make the current city administrator that LNO position. Have no issue with that. I have no issue with the performance of the people on the EDC right now. None of this is directed at them. I'm thinking 10, 15, 20 years, as all of us have changed out, different people and personalities could be in play, and not to have a provision for the CEO of the city to have the authority if somebody is doing something inappropriate. My suggestion, or what Cynthia's suggestion was at cause. It's not at will. And then that's what we were suggesting. So I have faith in EDC, the people that are sitting on board today, the assistant EDC director. My concerns are for when all of us are no longer sitting here, and who's sitting there 5, 10, 15 years down the road. The way I look at it, EDC is not broken. All of this is trying to make it better, stronger, more autonomous. But that's a provision I think the city should still have in its toolbox, as if the EDC director is doing something inappropriate and can be proven with cause. I don't see a problem with that being in this proposal. So that's where I'm coming from.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember?
So what I didn't see in here is the list of qualifications for this role. And I think that should be decided by EDC, but brought to council first so that we can look it over, discussion if needed. This is an important role, and we'll be in charge of money. And of course, we are stewards of that. And so I think that's important to me. What also is important is that we be given the opportunity to interview whatever candidates for this role, and I didn't see anything about that in here. So I would like to just have more clarification about the role so that I can have more understanding and make a decision that way.
Okay. Councilmember?
Excellent points. Ms. Salazar, excellent points. So again, back to Ms. Massey's points, Cynthia's points, Craig's points, these are great. We need, because the EDC is tax dollars that the elected officials are responsible to maintain and keep track of and see how that is done. we have to be able to check the executive director. Nowhere in here does it say that city council is responsible for that. So that's, and then oversight also has to be, I think, just for consistency's sake, I mean, it should be the city administrator, who's the ex facto board member, who would interact often and regular, just for consistency's sake. It should be, instead of the mayor, to assist and oversee the job performance and evaluation of the executive director. Those are my thoughts. And, yeah.
Okay. I think I'll sum up some of the, and to clearly define what it is we'll be voting on here. I concur with Councilmember Sanders. I don't see our mechanism broke. We have great cooperation, fantastic board members, great council members, great projects that are going on, strategy that's in place. And this is not about the people or the projects that are currently underway. This is a discussion about the mechanism that lasts for eternity. And once this decision is made, it is very difficult to modify at that point. It is hugely monumental in the fact that this is moving towards more autonomous EDC, which is something we have been moving towards. But it's important that we get it right and get it right the first time. I'm in favor of just about absolutely everything that's in here. But at the same time, there are significant concerns in the what if 15 years from now, and make sure the mechanisms are there and appropriately on the elected officials without unnecessarily messing with the business of the day-to-day of EDC and still being able to maintain their autonomy. So I don't vote, you all do. At this point, we'll be voting for approval of items A or B, A and B. You really can't have one without the other because they go hand in hand. If you vote to approve, everything will continue as written. If you vote against it, it will go back to EDC, and it'll be up to them if they want to resubmit something different. Is that correct, Frank?
Just for the record, I need to know who made the motion and second for the approval.
The motion was made originally by Massey and seconded.
Mine was to table, right?
Right.
No, the original to open.
Oh, to open, that's right, it was.
The original to open was by Massey and McCrossin. Then Massey made the motion to table, which was seconded by Sanders. We had the discussion on that. So if you're asking on the original, it would be Massey and McCrossin for first motion second. But the negative vote does not mean it cannot come back. It would have to come back in a different form. So at this point, there's no other discussion on this item. All in favor of approving item number 9A and B as written, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Craig, I didn't hear your vote to register.
I'm technically challenged. That's nay.
Okay. Motion fails. At this point, we will be adjourning our meeting.
Mayor, I think there's been sufficient direction based on the statements made as to what direction you would like for EDC to review with regards to the bylaws for them to consider to bring back to the council?
I believe so. So officially and for the record, it appears that the summation of concerns to be considered by EDC would be to suggest that you return with everything you have here, but with a phrase or a clause that would allow the council to be able to terminate the executive director with cause. And also to suggest that they consider replacing the mayor with the ex officio, the city administrator, as the participant in the performance review as opposed to the mayor. Those will be the two items that have been brought up for consideration. To place that before you.
Councilmember Salazar's.
Yes,
Also.
Salazar's.
I'm sorry, excuse me, with also a list of the ability to be able to interview the candidate as part of the approval process, as well as being able to have a list of qualifications that will be able to be judged the candidate against.
Did we want those in the bylaws, or just, is that going to be part of the process to approve an executive director?
To me, the bylaws would have to, the two items of who's involved with the review, and is also if the council is to have termination ability with cause, those two would have to be listed in the bylaws. The process could, the other items could be included in process that when, if it is brought back and is passed in that form, that when they come with a applicant or their nomination or their approved person, that it would come with the direction of the qualifications list and the resume, and that be handled in a process manner.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that qualifications were not going to include the bylaws, because that would make it very difficult to amend those
Correct. That would be more in a process that
Right,
would be
okay.
handled by the Board of EDC under their direction, their decision, their discussion, not by board or by council. Excuse me. All right, I think we sufficiently covered that, yes? Okay. At this time, we will go ahead and